What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's had a great rest of their Friday so far. Let's get into the latest news regarding De'Aaron King. So, according to Andrew Ivins from 247 Sports, De'Aaron King was at the University of Miami Thursday night and spent the whole day today at the University of Miami, and the visit is expected to go through a little bit on Saturday as well. Then he will be visiting College Park, Maryland. Mike Locksley has played a huge role in getting De'Aaron King to visit the University of Maryland. The interesting part of this whole recruiting saga with De'Aaron King, I know I mentioned a little bit when University of Miami, when you needed to enroll into classes. In my previous video, I said it was Friday. Andrew Ivins from 247 Sports stated Tuesday is the last day to enroll in classes at the University of Miami. So it's basically between Miami or Maryland. Now, De'Aaron King can choose to go to another school, obviously, and wait it out, but he would have to ultimately play in the summertime, and I don't think that's his goal. So it's between Miami or Maryland right now. Maryland finished 3-9 last season. Miami is a pro town. You know, it's a big city. You have a baseball team, a professional basketball team, professional football team. Okay, it's a great market. Miami was 6-7 and was hurting from quarterback play and a lot of things on the offense. I mean, a whole lot of issues, but a new quarterback is a step forward into the right direction. So I think Miami is a great place to go to. Look at Rhett Lashley, how he handled Shane Buechele, who was a transfer quarterback from the University of Texas, and transformed him into a great college quarterback, throwing over 30 touchdowns, 3,000 plus yards, and having a great offensive season down at SMU. I think that's a great sell for De'Aaron King. I don't know. Maryland is very cold right now. It's Chamber of Commerce weather right now in Coral Gables. So, hey, if I'm De'Aaron King, I will pick Miami over Maryland any day of the week, but we'll see what happens. I know a lot of people are nervous, saying it's not looking good for Miami because he still hasn't announced that he's coming to Miami. So Tuesday is the last day to enroll in classes at the University of Miami. So if you don't hear from De'Aaron King on Tuesday, then he will not be coming to Miami. Also, Anthony Brown. I know I mentioned in my last video, he was the next take. According to Andrew Ivins from 247 Sports, he is no longer considering Miami, and talks have died down ever since the accusation article of party life came out. It was a turnoff to him, so he is no longer interested in Miami, and so we are moving forward from Anthony Brown. Either way, guys, I would never want to take in a quarterback who's coming off of a torn ACL, rehabbing from that, wouldn't be ready until April, I believe. Personally, I was never a huge fan of Anthony Brown, so I don't think we're missing much from that. All right, moving forward. Visiting with De'Aaron King this weekend was Avante Williams, safety out of D-Land, Florida. He is the cousin of Lorenzo Lingard. As of right now, it seems like University of Florida is the lock to land Avante Williams, and University of Georgia is a dark horse pushing to land Avante Williams, but as of right now, Miami seems out of the loop. Now, another visitor was corner 6'2", Isaiah Dunson out of Georgia. He was a former FSU commit. He is also getting looks from the University of Texas and Ole Miss. He is expected to visit Lane Kiffin down in Oxford, Mississippi next week. So look out for that. Isaiah Dunson, Miami is in the mix with two other schools. Let's see how Coach Manny Diaz, how Coach Mike Rumpf can do with a pretty good recruiter in Lane Kiffin. Remember, he was in FAU, so maybe he has some baggage on Miami. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting how that turns out, but Miami does need corners. We only have 4 scholarship corners going into the spring, so we can take as many as we can get right now. Regarding the transfer portal, Quincy Roche, the AAC Defensive Player of the Year, he wants to visit other schools. Miami is continually talking to him, but he wants to visit other ACC schools specifically, so going to have to monitor the situation moving forward. I think if De'Aaron King ultimately does come to Miami, I think that is a strong base of your transfer portal recruiting class. Remember, guys, Brian Pollanday and Bubba Baxa today announced that they're going to the transfer portal. That opens up to scholarships for the University of Miami. That means more spots available, more offers to give out in the transfer portal. So basically, the transfer portal itself is a recruiting class. So, hey, you never know. Quincy Roche, you know, he was getting interest from Rutgers and Ohio State pushing Quincy Roche to visit. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a dogfight to land him. And I think getting D'Eriq King will be the best step forward to land Quincy Roche. Last but not least, guys, Damon Hazleton. He was the wide receiver at Virginia Tech this past season. He started off his career at Ball State University, finished this past season at Virginia Tech with 31 receptions and 8 touchdowns. He is in the transfer portal. A lot of people say that we do need to offer at least one wide receiver to come to Miami. Personally, I think we're fine, but he is an option out there, and it will be interesting if Miami does offer. Just wanted to mention that to you guys. And Scott Lashley, offensive lineman, redshirt senior from the University of Alabama, is also in the transfer portal, played in 8 games this season. So Miami does need offensive linemen, and they have reached out to several offensive linemen already. So, hey, it's going to be interesting how things play out moving forward. Remember, this is Rhett Lashley going in and recruiting D'Eriq King. Dan Enos is not known to be a good recruiter at all. Andrew Ivins interviewed Jalen Rivers and said, hey, when Dan Enos was done with the Miami job, when they got rid of him, are you comfortable still coming to Miami? And Jalen Rivers straight up told him, like, hey, I haven't really talked at all to Dan Enos throughout my recruiting process. It was just strictly Butch Barrett. Dan Enos, we had like very minimal conversations. So Dan Enos wasn't really a recruiter, only strictly with quarterbacks. He was really engaging with recruiting those players, specifically quarterbacks. So, you know, Rhett Lashley, he's an ace recruiter. Came from Auburn, that Auburn coaching tree. So, hey, I think it'll be very interesting if we land D'Eriq King. I think it's the best step forward for the 2020 season. He's a playmaker, he has a great arm, and he's an athlete. So I think that's what we need, specifically in this air raid offense we're about to run. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and go Canes.